you ever found yourself turning to someone and saying, you have to watch this movie, it's perfect? Any avid cinema fan knows that feeling when you just want everyone to know about this new perfect movie, the kind of films where you can't find a single crack in their armor. Sadly, there also comes the feeling when you think a film will make you feel that way, only to have the rug pulled out from under your feet. With that being said, I'm Jem from WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 almost perfect movies with one terrible scene. Number 10. Brand's love speech in Interstellar. Interstellar is a mind-blowing sci-fi that blends all the best elements you can expect from the prolific Christopher Nolan. It's got stunning acting, great music, and visuals that make you wish you could travel to the past just to see it in IMAX again for the first time. However, one thing that really stands out is the script's stunning ability to juggle profound dialogue with scientific jargon. It's watertight, with the characters and emotion always feeling connected to the technical side of what's going on. But then, Anne Hathaway delivers a ham-fisted monologue about how love is the only thing that can transcend time and space. Really? This moment comes out of nowhere and hits you like a truck. The speech is delivered very well and has nice writing, but it feels so out of place in this movie. It's unsubtle, hokey, and instantly makes Hathaway's character feel selfish, as it seemingly puts the mission and fate of humanity in jeopardy so she can reunite with her partner. There's certainly a place for love and emotion in this movie, as demonstrated perfectly by the relationship between McConaughey's Cooper and his daughter. But this speech is so on the nose and out of place that it feels disingenuous. Number 9. We can do it in the Kingsman, The Secret Service. Coming out of seeing Kingsman, The Secret Service for the first time will leave most people feeling great, but they'll also think, was the anal joke really necessary? Which is one hell of a final note to leave your audience on. This goofy spy flick is an action-packed thrill ride with plenty of laughs and a strong identity, but it goes too far in one scene that blows miles past the movie's tongue-in-cheek tone. The moment in question is set up when Eggsy, the protagonist, stumbles across a Swedish princess who's locked in a cell. They flirt, he promises to save her, and then she delivers the infamous line, "If you save the world, we can do it in the sorry, what? The joke is then paid off in the final moments as Merlin watches through Eggsy's glasses as he enters her cell and prepares to do the deed. This could have been a light-hearted final gag had it stopped a little earlier, but it goes past that as you get an unnecessary shot of the princess's bare bottom. Everything else in this movie passes with flying colours, but this out-of-pocket and rather misogynistic moment probably should have been left on the cutting room floor. Number 8. The basement scene in Gran Torino. While Eastwood kills it in this gripping drama about a Korean war vet befriending his neighbours, the supporting performance from his co-star, B. Vang, doesn't quite hit the mark. Vang's unnatural delivery can be excused for most of the film as it feeds into the character's naivety and awkwardness. However, there are no excuses present when it ruins what should have been the best scene in the movie. This moment comes after Walt locks Tao in his basement, stopping him from venturing on a suicide mission and finally revealing how haunted he is by his past. As he leaves, Tao bangs on the door and tries to stop him, but it's comically bad, ruining the whole emotional catharsis of the scene. Eastwood works overtime to sell the drama, but Vang's unconvincing screams, awkward physicality, and wooden delivery utterly tank it. Gran Torino is still a masterpiece, but it could have been even better had this moment been stronger. Number 7. Chilly down with the fire gang in Labyrinth. Oh boy, it's time for some puppets. Jim Henson's beloved yet bonkers classic fantasy movie is a fever dream of breathtaking practical effects, charming characters, an unpredictable world, and David frickin' Bowie. It's a one-of-a-kind movie that nails everything it tries to do. Well, except this one sequence. During the film, you follow Jennifer Connelly's Sarah as she explores the titular labyrinth, running into kooky characters and weirdness along the way. However, at one point, she is accosted by a group of creepy red creatures who can rip off their own limbs. Okay. Besides being pure nightmare fuel, the scene stands out for its abysmal visuals. The movie's biggest selling point is its gorgeous and entirely practical world, yet these creatures come with awful green screen effects that instantly take you out of said world. The movie is from the 80s, so you might be able to excuse the poor VFX, but not when the rest of the film is so beautifully constructed thanks to its physical environments. This moment also doesn't impact the plot at all, so cutting it would have made zero difference. Number 6. Derek's TV interview in American History X. American History X, for the uninitiated, is a visceral, challenging, and horrendously gritty movie that explores powerful themes like hatred, racism, and redemption. It also features a leading performance from Edward Norton that many cinephiles would argue is his best. Sadly, there is one scene that will leave you giggling unintentionally. The moment in question shows off an old TV recording of an interview with the movie's lead, Derek. It depicts him talking to a news reporter right after his father's death and sows the seed for his path to becoming a neo-Nazi. Unfortunately, rather than hiring a younger actor to play Derek, the filmmakers just took Norton and stuck a backwards cap on his head, and it sure does look silly. Norton is, quite clearly, an adult man wearing ill-fitting, stereotypical teenager clothes. While it's not as bad as Steve Buscemi's "How you doing, fellow kids" meme, it's not too far off. Number 5. Tuxedo Shopping in 1976's Carrie. It's time to delve into spooky season with one of the most influential Stephen King adaptations of all time, the original Carrie movie. This film is a genuinely terrifying experience that still packs a punch to this day. It's an almost flawless horror movie with a great plot, visuals, acting, and more. But, of course, it's got one scene that is absolutely terrible for no reason. There comes a sequence in the flick, prior to the blood-drenching final act, where Tommy, Carrie's prom date, and his buddies shop for a tuxedo. The sequence in itself is already quite awkward as the forced comedy gets no laughs. However, it becomes even worse when the film suddenly speeds up out of nowhere, leaving the characters sounding like Alvin and the Chipmunks for a few painful seconds. Legend has it that this spontaneous bout of speed was director Brian De Palma's attempt to up the pacing of the scene. Still, in doing so, he created a woefully distracting moment that leaves most viewers baffled. Number 4. The Grindelwald reveal in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Doesn't it just suck when you're watching a movie and vibing with the villain, only for said villain to be revealed as someone else in disguise with the new character doing nothing for you? Admittedly, that is a very specific scenario, but fans of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them know it all too well. The first Fantastic Beasts movie had a lot going for it, with one highlight being Colin Farrell's chilling turn as the villainous Percival Graves. That's why it hurt so much when the finale revealed that he was just Grindelwald in disguise, with the sudden unveiling of Johnny Depp not hitting the heights that producers likely expected it to. This moment is genuinely terrible, as it's a cheap reveal that is boringly composed. The use of a simple tracking shot with no unique visuals as the character physically changes robs the reveal of any impact. Depp's whispering performance is also instantly bland, if you could ever hear it in the first place. Number 3. Russell Crowe's solo in Les Miserables. Tom Hooper's Les Miserables movie is, while not for everyone, a phenomenal adaptation of the stellar musical. That said, it has some questionable choices, and Russell Crowe as Javert is high among them. His turn as the iconic antagonist is mostly passable thanks to his gruff character work, but that goes out the window when it's time for him to tackle a solo. Oh lord, why did he have to do a solo? Crowe's rendition of Stars is easily the worst part of the movie. His awkward singing is cringe-inducing, and his monotone voice conveys little to no emotion, and there are plenty of moments where he strains to hit the notes. Simply put, Crowe sings the song badly, which is ironic considering he's not a bad singer in real life. Unfortunately, his musical theatre voice just isn't right, and sitting through his attempts to deliver a powerful vocal performance is painful. Musical theatre fans also felt their hearts break in this scene, as Stars is one of the most popular male solos in the entire medium. Hearing it butchered like this was devastating, especially considering how many great actors could have sang it wonderfully. Number 2. Is that how time travel works in Superman? Superhero movies might feel like a dime a dozen now, but that wasn't always the case. Getting comic books onto the big screen was a long road, yet one trailblazer was 1978's Superman, a love letter to the character that, barring the dated VFX, is still enjoyable to watch today. Still, for all the movie gets right, there is one thing that is laughably ridiculous, which is saying a lot considering the campiness of early superhero flicks. The feature's climax sees Superman save the world, but lose Lois Lane in the process. So, to get her back, he decided to fly around the Earth so fast that it turned in reverse, which somehow rewound time, allowing the Man of Steel to save Lois. Now, that is one hell of a get out of jail free card. Naturally, this is a ridiculously illogical idea. Sure, comic book movies require suspension of disbelief, but there is only so much an audience member can look past. Number 1. Vesper and Bond fall in love in 2006's Casino Royale. The James Bond movies are a treasure trove of terrible one-liners and goofy scenes. However, Casino Royale stormed the gates in 2006 with the promise of bringing grit and prestige back to the series, and it did so wonderfully. Still, there's one scene that wasn't so well achieved. It follows Eva Green's Vesper Lind and Daniel Craig's Bond right after he's saved from Le Chiffre's ball torture. The pair have major romantic tension, but some of the dialogue is so awful it makes you want to gag. After Vesper claims she feels reborn every time she wakes him up, he says, "If you've just been reborn, wouldn't you be naked?" Okay, so certainly not off to a great start, but oh boy, it somehow gets even more cringeworthy. The worst moment comes after Vesper says, "If all that was left of you was your smile and little finger, you would still be more of a man than anyone I've ever met." Bond then replies, "That's because you know what I can do with my little finger." This dialogue would probably feel more at home in the campy Roger Moore era of the character, but with Craig's more grounded rendition, it just stinks. And that just about rounds up our 10 almost perfect movies with one terrible scene. If you could think of any more, then let us know in the comments down below. And while you're there, drop us a like, share, and subscribe too. I've been Jem from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you next time.